Okay, so I don't usually make videos on decks that I have gotten to King of Games with, but, well, this is one of the most disgusting decks that I've ever played to get to King of Games. So if you're unaware, I go to King of Games every single season. I have done that since like 2020 every month and have not stopped. I have not had a month where I did not get to King of Games. I do that for both Speed and Rush since it came out, and well, we're still going strong. We still haven't missed a month yet. And this month, well, because I don't really feel like playing a lot of Duel Links, I mean, there's a lot of things that you can do that's not playing Duel Links. So, well, might as well try to stack out before it gets banned, because if you're unaware, this card is like going to be banned in what, a few hours, and so might as well play this deck before we couldn't. And I must say that this single deck encapsulates pretty much all the issues about Duel Links. It uses the broken skill, it's playing Lava Golem because the skill for some reason lets you, it has the FTK, and it pretty much doesn't break at all. There's like 7 1-card starters and 3 magical mouths to help you draw into the starters. It's so good. It's like, it's even better in like late season because decks can't really like the power level of decks in general are just lower, so even if you don't go first and if you don't FTK, you can still play going second and the deck's still fine. So yeah, if you're unfamiliar with this build, it's the Utopia FTK. They are going to ban this in a moment, but I'm just gonna talk a bit about what this deck does and just talk about the ratios a bit. Also show a replay, even though I know it's not going to be legal probably by the time you watch it, but still, I'd like to have like a just a recording of a deck that has been part of the meta, and well, just showing a fragment of the past, basically. Okay, so for the monsters, 1 Ascended Sage, 3 Astrotopia, and 3 Armed Sage. This is pretty standard. It's the 1-card starters that the deck functions with. And even if you have more copies of Ascended Sage, I don't think you need to play more copies than 1. Because if you go first, it's actually better to have more Astrotopias in your hand. Like the optimal hand would be like Ascended Sage, Armed Sage, and 2 Astrotopias, because that way you can normal summon the Astrotopia immediately before you even make your first Xyz, and then grab your Xyz change tactics and draw as soon as you make your Utopia double, and that like maximizes the cards that you're going to draw. And if you're going second, you want more Armed Sage, because if your opponent gets rid of one of your level 4s, the special summon of Armed Sage is not once per turn. I mean, Ascended Sage is also not once per turn, but it's much easier to summon Armed Sage than it is to summon Ascended Sage. So even if your opponent gets rid of one of your level 4s, you can just special summon another copy of Armed Sage, and this has come up. So in both cases, you don't want multiple copies of Ascended Sage, so you probably only need to play 1 copy. And we're playing the bricks, which is Ashura Strike, which is searchable, Numeral Force, which is searchable. In this version, you kind of don't want to play Limited Baron's Force, because Numeral Force is better going second, and also if you go first, you don't even need to activate the rank up spell. So it's much better to just have a second copy of Numeral Force. Like, the skill gives you 1, right? So having a second one is just better in case your opponent negates the first one. Being able to resolve this card is just really good to establish the boards. 1 double of nothing, obviously. And okay, for the draw spells, Xyz Change Tactics is searchable because Astrotopia can search it. And if you already have it in your hand, you can instead search Xyz Gift, which is a pot of green, pretty much. And this deck draws so many cards, it's actually disgusting. It's like, so like FTKs in itself is not that big of a deal if it's not consistent, right? And also if it loses going second. This deck is neither inconsistent nor loses going second. This deck is so broken. It's even I genuinely think that this is probably more broken than the Tachyon FTK, and that previously was like the FTK that I think was the best FTK ever in Duel Links, because that deck It's consistent enough to FTK going first, and can also play going second because it's just Tachyon, you know, you can just play in engine. This deck is like on the same level, but probably even better because of card like Lava Golem. And also like for like the tens of hundreds of times of me playing this deck in ranked, I have not failed an FTK ever when I go first. Like if I open a starter, like any of the Zexal Sages or Astrotopia, if I do the combo, I have never failed an FTK. Every time if I get to like Utopia double and start searching, I have always been able to FTK. Well, unless your opponent has like a hand trap, but that doesn't really isn't really the point. The point is that if I get to combo, I always FTK, and that is really scary. And so for the actual FTK part, it's pretty simple. You just go activate Xian Spy, which gives your opponent a 8,000 attack Utopia Ray, and then you just activate the Utopia Buster and just pop it and then deal 4k damage, and that is lethal. And your opponent will be able to activate the effect of Utopia Ray because you gave it the Utopia Ray, but doesn't really matter because they can negate your monster effects and you can still burn them for 4,000 damage, and that's completely fine. And we're playing 3 Magical Mallets just to help us draw into the FTK pieces, because this build specifically doesn't actually have the ability to draw through every card in your deck usually. And just having more mallets helps you find the pieces that you need to FTK. And also, if you go first or second, if you go first, it helps you grab your starters because it's just 7. 7 is probably like the minimum that you would want for a 20 card deck. But just having more mallets helps you grab the starters in case you don't draw it. And also, if you go second, it helps you draw Lava Golem. And Lava Golem is just so crazy. Like, why is this deck allowed to play Lava Golem? And yeah, that's pretty much the main deck. The extra deck, we don't have to play Utopia Ray Victory because the skill nerf is not in effect yet. I mean, you can update the app and then it will be live, but you just don't have to update the app yet. The mandatory update is like in a few hours, so at the time of recording, so we can still play without the Utopia Ray Victory. So the extra deck is pretty much just a bunch of Utopias, because every time you make one, you draw a card off of XC Change Tactics. Utopia Ray and Leo Arms is mandatory because you need an 8,000 attack monster. And then Utopia Double, 2 Utopia Ray, and 2 Utopia the Lightning, just to constantly rank up again and again, just to draw a bunch of cards. 1 Utopia as part of the combo, and for the last card, we are actually playing a copy of the Anti-Luminescent Knight, because you can make this card going second, and it protects your board against back row, because if your opponent has like a bunch of monsters, it's pretty easy, right? You could just have Lava Golem, or even if you don't have Lava Golem, you can just negate the monsters with a Numeral Force. But against back row, this deck does struggle a bit, so the Anti-Luminescent Knight helps with that, just to redirect any of the set cards. You can also play Tornado Dragon to force out back row, but I think this card is a bit better, just because if your opponent has multiple sets and some of them are bluffs, you can just guarantee that you always have value off of the redirect. Yeah, if you use Tornado Dragon, you just pop 1 single back row, and that is probably not enough if your opponent has like a bunch of back row. Yeah, so let's have a quick look at a replay and show you guys how the FTK works if you haven't seen this deck before. Okay, so we were playing against another Utopia. Doesn't really matter what we play against because we are going to FTK anyway. And I am so sorry to anyone who faced against me because I've ended so many win streaks. Like, just so many times I would see my opponent having like a 10 win streak and then just losing to an FTK. But anyway, here's the bread and butter combo. We're gonna special summon the 2 level 4s, and then actually we're gonna normal summon the Astrotopia because we have 2 copies. You don't want to do that if you only have 1, but because we have 2, we can normal summon it first, grab the Xyz Change Tactics before we make the Utopia double, because now if we make it, we can have an extra draw. So we're gonna search 2, and then we're gonna draw 1 card, and then we're gonna go Utopia double, make the Ultimate Leo Utopia Ray, which is another Utopia, and then we're gonna draw another card. And then we're going to use the effect, equip Leo Arms to make an 8k, special summon the second Astrotopia, and then make a normal Utopia. And that draws you another card off of Xyz Change Tactics. And then we're going to make Utopia Ray. There's a lot of animations, I probably should turn it off before I begin this video. But regardless, we're going to draw another card with Xyz Change Tactics. We'll make Utopia the Lightning, draw a third card, and then go and use Xyz Gift, detaching some materials. Now we already have the necessary pieces to FTK, so we don't have to draw any more cards. But assuming that we still need to draw cards because we, if we don't have the pieces in our hand, we can activate our skill, put this back to the extra deck, and then put a Utopia on our field, and then continue to rank up, make another Utopia Array, and then make another Utopia the Lightning, and that draws you 2 more cards. And also there's one more Xyz Gift in the deck, so if we draw the Xyz Gift, we are able to draw every single card in our deck. But we don't have to in this situation because we already have the SGN Spy and the Utopia Buster. So what we're going to do is give our opponent the Utopia Array and activate the Buster. And every single time, your opponent will try to use the effect. It doesn't matter if they try to do it. Even if the Utopia gets negated and the attack is halved, it does not matter at this point. You always burn them for 8k, for 4k because it's half damage. So yeah, you always burn them for 4k and you just win immediately. And well, what else do I have to say about this deck, man? So all I'm gonna say is that I'm just glad that this deck is gonna be not a thing after a few hours when the ban list is in effect, because this thing will be banned. People probably will still find a way to FTK, but it's gonna be a lot less good because both this and the Xyz Chain Tactics will not be available for this deck because this card's gonna be limit 1 and then they're gonna force you to play a limit 1 deck in your extra deck. So even if they still find a way to maybe like play free Xyz Gift, play a bunch of like Into the Voids, I don't think you can play Into the Voids because it's limit free, but maybe like Dark World Dealings, I don't know, just people will find a way, and then they will find like an alternative way to burn. But if they do find it, it's gonna be a lot less good. And that's a good thing. FTKs are not supposed to be good. Don't play FTKs. But yeah, just small deck showcase. It's more like a small opportunity for me to rant about the state of the game again. This kind of deck should not be in the game. Like, this is just so disgusting, and I'm glad it's gonna be gone. Anyway, thanks for watching, and goodbye.